The summer coach looked at me like a stranger. Unaware, I heard his whispered confession. His voice had cracked like thunder over the empty pool deck that night, murmuring to the shadows about a love he could never claim. A boy named Zachary who swam through his dreams like a ghost in the deep end. I froze behind the bleachers, heart slamming against my ribs, the chlorine sting in my eyes blurring the line between betrayal and longing. In that split second, the world tilted, the humid Georgia air thick with unspoken sins, the cicadas screaming their indifferent symphony. Connor Hale, the golden boy of Willow Creek High's swim team, had just unraveled everything I thought I knew about us. I bolted from the shadows before he could turn, my sneakers slapping wet concrete as I fled into the pine-thick night, the weight of his words chasing me like a riptide. By dawn, I convinced myself it was a fever dream, but the ache in my chest said otherwise. Connor didn't know I'd heard. And God help me, I wasn't sure I wanted him to. The summer of 24 in Willow Creek, Georgia, hit like a heat wave straight out of a Southern Gothic novel, oppressive, sticky, and full of secrets that festered under the surface. I'd come back to town after my freshman year at Emory, trading Atlanta's buzz for the familiar drone of lawnmowers and church bells, all to assistant coach the high school swim team. It was supposed to be a break, a way to pocket some cash and shake off the isolation of dorm life. What I didn't expect was Connor Hale crashing back into my orbit like a meteor. We'd known each other since middle school, back when Willow Creek was all pickup baseball and stolen sips of sweet tea from our parents' coolers. Connor was the star, the quarterback who moonlighted as a swimmer, broad-shouldered and easy-smiling, the kind of guy who made teachers blush and girls and a few boys whisper in the hallways. I was Zachary Ellis, the quiet one with the sketchbook and the too long hair, always on the periphery, cheering from the bleachers. We'd shared a few awkward high-fives over the years, but nothing that stuck. Until now. The first practice of summer session, I showed up early to the community pool, the one tucked behind the rec center with its chain-link fence rattling in the breeze. The water gleamed like polished turquoise under the floodlights, and there he was, Connor, all grown up at 22, barking orders at a gaggle of wide-eyed freshmen. He wore board shorts slung low on his hips, a whistle dangling from his neck, his sun-kissed skin glistening from an early lap. "Ellis, you made it," he called, flashing that megawatt grin as he hauled himself out of the pool. Water cascaded off him in rivulets, and I swear, time stuttered. "Yeah, man. Wouldn't miss drowning these kids." I shot back, trying to play it cool while my pulse betrayed me. Close. He smelled like sunscreen and salt, pure summer distilled. We fell into easy rhythm that first week. Me handling drills for the backstrokers, him reigning over the freestylers like some aquatic king. Late afternoons, after the whistle blew and the kids scattered, we'd linger by the snack bar, splitting Gatorades and trading stories about college. Emory for me, UGA for him, rival schools, but it only fueled the banter. It started innocently enough. A brush of hands passing a kickboard. His laugh lingering a beat too long when I cracked a dumb joke about synchronized swimming. By week 2, the air between us crackled like the ozone before a storm. One evening, as thunderheads rolled in from the west, we were stacking lane ropes under a sky bruised purple. Rain spat down in fat drops, soaking us through. "Come on, Zach," he said, voice low and urgent, grabbing my wrist to pull me under the equipment shed's overhang. We stood there, chests heaving, inches apart, the scent of wet earth mingling with chlorine. His eyes, hazel flecked with gold, locked on mine, and for a heartbeat, I thought he might close the gap. "You ever feel like you're drowning on dry land?" he murmured, thumb grazing my pulse point. I swallowed hard, the world narrowing to the heat of his skin. "Every damn day," I whispered back. Our foreheads touched, breaths mingling, and then nothing. A car horn blared from the parking lot, shattering the spell. His mom, picking him up. He pulled away with a shaky laugh, ruffling my hair like we were kids again. "See you tomorrow, partner." But tomorrow came loaded. That night, couldn't sleep, replaying the almost kiss like a glitchy reel. Connor Hale, straight arrow Connor, with his high school sweetheart ex and family expectations stacked like cinder blocks, had looked at me like I was the only buoy in the ocean. Was it real, or just the rain playing tricks? The confession I overheard shattered that fragile hope. It was a Thursday, practices running long under the relentless sun. The team had cleared out, but I'd hung back to scrub the gutters, procrastinating, really, because going home meant facing the empty house and Dad's ghost, his recliner still dented from where cancer had claimed him last fall. Connor thought I was gone. I heard his truck rumble off, but curiosity or stupidity pulled me toward the locker room. That's when I caught it. His voice, hushed and ragged, on a phone call in the shadowed alcove. "God, Lena, I can't keep doing this," he was saying, voice cracking like I'd never heard. Lena, his sister, the one who'd moved to Atlanta. "It's him. Okay, Zachary. Every time he looks at me, it's like I'm finally breathing. But what the hell am I supposed to do? Mom and Dad would disown me. The town. Jesus." A pause. Then a whisper that gutted me. "I love him, Lena." And I can't even say it out loud. I pressed against the cold tile, breath shallow, the world spinning. Love. Not lust, not curiosity, love. But fear chained him. That whispered confession, a lifeline he tossed into the void, unaware I was listening. When he emerged, towel slung over his shoulder, he scanned the deck like he sensed a ghost. Our eyes met across the empty pool, and there it was, that stranger's gaze, guarded and distant, as if he'd locked the vulnerability away. He nodded curtly, climbed into his truck, and drove off into the twilight, taillights fading like dying embers. I didn't confront him. Not then. Instead, I swam. Lap after punishing lap, until my muscles screamed and my lungs burned, chasing the numbness of exhaustion. By the time I dragged myself out, the stars were pricking the sky, and resolve hardened in my gut. If Connor couldn't bridge the gap, maybe I would. Or maybe I'd burn it all down. The next morning, practice was a minefield. He avoided my eyes during warm-ups, barking corrections at the kids with an edge that set my teeth on edge. "Ellis, tighten up that flip-turn demo. Don't half-ass it," he snapped when I flubbed a rotation. The team tittered, but I felt the undercurrent, the unspoken war brewing. As we hosed down the deck, I cornered him by the pump house. "What's your deal today, Hale? You coaching or auditioning for drill sergeant?" He stiffened, hose kinking in his grip. "Just focused, Zach. Summer's short. Gotta make it count." His voice was clipped, eyes darting to the horizon like it held escape routes. I stepped closer, the spray misting our faces. "Bullshit. Last night. Last night was nothing. He cut in. Too quick. Too sharp. The hose slipped, water arcing wild between us. Rain and bad decisions. Forget it. Forget it. My laugh was bitter, tasting like bile. You think I can just drop it, Ellis? His whisper was venom, eyes flashing warning. But beneath it, desperation flickered, the same fear from his confession. He turned away, shoulders rigid, leaving me soaked and seething in the puddle. That rift widened like a fault line. Days blurred into a tense standoff, stolen glances across the pool, his hand lingering on my shoulder during a relay handoff, only to yank back like I'd burned him. The kids sensed it, whispering about coach drama, but we played our parts. Me, the steady assistant with the easy smile. Him, the unflappable leader hiding cracks. Then came the betrayal. It hit mid-July, during the regional qualifiers in Macon, an hour's drive north. The team piled into 2 vans like sardines, belting out country tunes to kill the nerves. Connor and I rode shotgun in his, knees brushing on the turns, the cab thick with unspoken static. We placed second overall, an upset win that had the boys whooping into the night. Celebrations spilled into a roadside diner, neon buzzing over milkshakes and fries, the air humming with victory. I slipped out for air around midnight, the parking lot gravel crunching under my sneakers. That's when I saw them. Connor, silhouetted against his truck, locked in an embrace with Tyler Grant, one of our senior swimmers, all lean muscle and cocky grin. Tyler's hands fisted in Connor's shirt, pulling him down into a kiss that was all hunger and no hesitation. My stomach plummeted. Not a peck, not a bro hug gone wrong. This was deliberate, bodies pressed flush, Connor's fingers threading Tyler's hair like he'd done it 100 times. I backed away, while rising, the diner's glow mocking me. Betrayal wasn't just the act. It was the lie it confirmed, that I was the experiment, the what if he whispered about but never chased. Tyler, with his easy out-of-town vibe and no-strings summer fling, was safe. I wasn't. Back in the van, I stared out the window as we rumbled south, Macon's lights fading. Connor slid in beside me, reeking faintly of Tyler's cologne, cheap and citrusy. Hell of a night. Huh? He said, voice casual, like he hadn't just gutted me. Yeah, I muttered, throat tight. Hell of one. He reached for my knee, a habitual touch, but I jerked away. His brow furrowed. Zach, you good? Peachy. The word dripped sarcasm, and for the first time, I saw a panic flicker in his eyes. Good. Let him drown in it. The drive home stretched eternal, silence our only companion. By Willow Creek's exit, couldn't hold it. Saw you with Tyler, I said flatly, not looking at him. Don't worry, your secret's safe. Wouldn't want to complicate things. He slammed on the brakes at the next red light, the van lurching. What the fuck? Zach, it's not. Not what? Not what I think. I whirled on him, fury igniting. You're out there whispering my name to your sister like I'm some forbidden fruit. Then you turn around and... You heard. His face drained of color, realization dawning like a slap. Oh God. You heard me on the phone. Every word. The light turned green. Horns blared behind us. He floored it, jaw clenched, weaving through the empty streets toward my street. We screeched to a halt outside my duplex, the engine ticking like a bomb. It wasn't real, Zach. The call, I was drunk, venting. Tyler's just stress relief. Nothing like what? Like us. I laughed. Hollow. There is no us, Connor. You made sure of that. Looking at me like a stranger, pushing me away. If you can't even admit it to yourself, why drag me into your mess? He gripped the wheel white-knuckled, eyes glistening. I'm scared. Okay, this town, my family, it's a cage. But you're the only thing that feels like freedom. His voice broke, raw and pleading. I love you, Zach. That's not a drunk slip. It's the truth I've been choking on. The words I'd longed for hung between us. But too late, poisoned by the image of his lips on Tyler's. Love doesn't hide, I said, voice steady despite the shatter inside. And it sure as hell doesn't betray. I shoved the door open, spilling into the humid night. Find your freedom somewhere else. I didn't look back as I slammed the van door. His Zach. Wait! Echoing futilely. Inside, I collapsed against the frame, sobs racking me silent and fierce. The boy who'd haunted his whispers was walking away, and damn if it didn't feel like surfacing from the deep, gasping, alive, but forever changed. The fallout from Macon seeped into everything, turning the pool into a battlefield of sidelong glances and stilted commands. Practices dragged, the water no longer a sanctuary, but a mirror reflecting our fractured bond. Connor doubled down on his coach persona, clipped whistles, relentless sets, while I buried myself in the kids, teaching breaststroke form to 14-year-olds with a grin that felt painted on. Tyler strutted like he'd won the lottery, flashing smirks my way that I ignored, but each one was a knife twist. Connor avoided him too, or so it seemed, but trust was a luxury I'd lost. Nights were worse. Willow Creek's quiet amplified the ache. Crickets chirping accusations, the hum of the AC mocking my restlessness. I'd sketch by lamplight, charcoal smudging Connor's profile on the page. Sharp jaw, haunted eyes, the curve of his smile I'd memorized from stolen moments. But the lines always blurred into anger, the paper crumpling under my fist. Dad's old radio played Johnny Cash ballads, crooning about walking the line, and I'd wonder if Connor was doing the same, balancing on the edge of who he was and who they wanted him to be. A week after the blow-up, the team hosted a scrimmage against the county rivals from Brunswick. The rec center buzzed with parents in folding chairs, coolers sweating condensation, the air thick with hot dogs and anticipation. I arrived early, towel over my shoulder, stealing for the inevitable brush with Connor. He was already there, clipboard in hand, rallying the boys with that effortless charisma. Our eyes met across the deck. He looked wrecked, shadows under his eyes like bruises, but he nodded professionally. Ellis. Ready to crush him? Always, I replied, voice neutral. We fell into sync for warm-ups, bodies moving in tandem like muscle memory, but the space between us yawned vast. During the medley relay, one of our anchors cramped mid-stroke. Panic rippled through the lane. Without thinking, Connor dove in, hauling the kid to the side, me right behind to support his legs. Our hands brushed underwater, electric, and for a suspended second, the world hushed. Then reality crashed back. Cheers from the crowd, the kids sputtering thanks. Connor pulled away first, muttering, "Good save," before vanishing into the coach's huddle. We won by a touchpad margin. The victory lap a blur of high fives and splashes. As the rivals slunk off, Connor clapped my back, harder than necessary, his palm lingering. "Couldn't have done it without you," he said low, breath warm on my ear. I shrugged it off, but inside, embers stirred. Damn him for making it so easy to hope. That hope ignited later, post-meet barbecue under string lights strung between the pines. The team roasted marshmallows, ghost stories flying as fireflies danced. I nursed a soda on the periphery, the smoke stinging my eyes, when Connor appeared, beer in hand, sleeves rolled up, looking every bit the small-town heartthrob. "Walk with me?" he asked, nodding toward the trail snaking behind the pool. Against better judgment, I followed. The path wound through kudzu-choked woods, moonlight dappling the dirt, the distant laughter fading. We didn't speak at first, just the crunch of leaves and our synced breaths. Finally, he stopped by a fallen log, turning to face me. "I've been an asshole, Zach. No excuses." "Yeah, you have." The words escaped sharper than intended, but he didn't flinch. "Fair." He raked a hand through his hair, vulnerability cracking his facade. "After the phone call, you hearing that terrified me. Like, if you knew how deep this runs, you'd run." And then Tyler. That was me panicking, trying to prove I was still normal. Stupidest move of my life. I leaned against a tree, arms crossed to guard my heart. It wasn't just stupid, Connor. It was cruel. You don't get to whisper my name like a prayer 1 minute, then kiss someone else to bury it. His eyes welled, reflecting the moon like shattered glass. "I know. God, I know. But burying it hasn't worked. It's clawing me apart." He stepped closer, voice dropping to a plea. "This us. It's the most real thing I've felt. Since Dad's heart attack last year, everything's felt scripted. Church on Sundays, job at the mill, dating girls to keep the questions at bay. But with you, it's like coming up for air." The confession hung heavy, stirring the storm in my chest. I wanted to shove him away, to scream that words weren't enough. But his hand found mine, tentative, calluses rough from lane ropes and long days. "I'm done hiding," he vowed, thumb tracing my knuckles. "If you'll let me prove it." The kiss, when it came, was inevitable, a slow burn igniting under the stars. His lips tentative at first, tasting of beer and regret, then deepening with the hunger we'd banked for weeks. I fisted his shirt, pulling him flush, the world dissolving to the press of his body, solid and yielding. He groaned into my mouth, hands roaming my back, mapping scars I hadn't shared. We broke apart gasping, foreheads pressed, his whisper fierce, "I love you, Zachary Ellis." No more strangers. In that moment, tangled in the Georgia woods, felt possible. Like we could rewrite the script, carve out a space in Willow Creek's unforgiving grid. We stumbled back to the party flushed and disheveled, stealing glances that spoke volumes. The night blurred, shared glances over Esmores, his foot nudging mine under the picnic table, and for the first time, the ache eased into something warm, tentative hope. But Willow Creek had other plans. Secrets in small towns are like kudzu. They creep, they choke, they expose roots you buried deep. It started with whispers, a mom's sidelong glance at practice, a kid's awkward "Coach Hale's got a new girl?" rumor. Tyler, nursing his bruised ego, Must have let slip something vague to a teammate, who told his sister, who worked the register at the Piggly Wiggly. By week's end, the air hummed with speculation, eyes following us like hawks. Connor felt it first. "They're talking," he muttered one afternoon, coiling ropes with jerky motions. "About us." Saw Mrs. Hargrove staring daggers during laps. "Let 'em talk," I said, forcing bravado. But my gut twisted. Willow Creek wasn't Atlanta. It was Bible Belt Buckle, where love the sinner came with asterisks. My own coming out had been a quiet affair. Mom's teary hug before she passed. Dad's gruff, "Be safe, son." But Connor? His folks were the fire and brimstone sort. Deacons at First Baptist. The kind who'd pray the gay away. The hammer fell that Sunday. I was at home, sketching poolside scenes, when my phone buzzed, Connor's name. A single text, "Meet me at the quarry." Now, the old gravel pit on the town's edge, abandoned since the 90s, was our spot now. Stolen kisses amid rusted machinery. The water a midnight blue mirror. I arrived to find him pacing the shore, phone clutched like a grenade. "Pastor Reynolds called," he said without preamble, voice hollow. "Heard from a concerned parent. Said he wanted to talk. Guide me back to the path." He laughed, bitter. Like I'm some lost lamb. My blood ran cold. "What did you say?" "Nothing." Hung up. He kicked a pebble into the water, ripples spreading. "But Mom." She cornered me at breakfast. "Is it true, Connor, about you and that Ellis boy?" I denied it, old habits, but her face. He trailed off, eyes distant. She looked at me like I was diseased. The word hung, ugly and American, echoing the sermons I'd endured as a kid. I pulled him into a hug, his body rigid then melting against mine. "We'll figure it." "No." He pulled back, eyes wild. "We can't. Not here. I start grad school at UGA in fall. Maybe we lay low till then. Or end it clean." The suggestion landed like a gut punch. "End it? After everything? It's not fair to you," he pleaded. "Dragging you through this mud. You're meant for bigger art shows in the city, not hiding in hick hell." "Fuck fair," I snapped, anger flaring. "You don't get to decide for me. We fight this together, or not at all." He searched my face, torn, then nodded reluctant surrender. We kissed there by the quarry, fierce and defiant, but the seed of doubt had taken root. That night, alone, I stared at the ceiling, the weight of together feeling heavier than hope. The conflict escalated like a summer squall, sudden, drenching, impossible to outrun. Practices turned toxic. Tyler cornered me in the locker room one day, sneer curling his lip. "Heard you and coach got cozy. Hope you're not expecting rings." Khan's always been a player. I shoved past, but the barb lodged deep. Connor, sensing the shift, grew distant again, protective. He called it, but it felt like retreat. Then came the betrayals encore. A leaked photo, grainy, snapped from the woods that barbecue night, circulated via group chat among the team parents. Blurry figures locked in embrace, but unmistakable. Connor's truck in the background, my profile half-turned. By Monday, the rec center director pulled us aside, face pinched. "This situation is distracting the kids. Unprofessional." Connor took the hit, voice steady. "My fault, sir." I'll handle it. But later, in the parking lot, he unloaded. This is on me, Zach. I pushed too hard. Too soon. No, I corrected. But he was already spiraling. Eyes shadowed. That night, he didn't text. Or the next. When he finally surfaced, it was a voicemail, voice thick with tears. I can't do this to you. Or them. I'm sorry. No callback. No explanation. Just absence. Sharp as a dive into ice water. I drove to his place unannounced. The Hale family home glowing warm against the dusk. Porch light like a beacon. Swing creaking empty. His truck was there, but he answered the door hollow-eyed. Flannel untucked. Zach. Go. Please. Like hell. I pushed inside. The living room frozen in time. Cross-stitched Bible verses. Dad's recliner by the TV. His mom hovered in the kitchen doorway. Arms crossed. Gaze arctic. Connor's resting, she said flatly. Family matter. But he followed me to the hall, whispering frantic. She knows everything. Threatened to cut me off school. The house. Said it's a phase. But if I don't end it. His voice cracked. I betrayed you again. Didn't I? Choosing them over us. The word betrayed echoed his confession. Closing the circle. I cupped his face. Thumbs brushing tears. It's not choosing. It's surviving. But God. Connor. It hurts. We clung there. Hidden in the dim hall. His sobs muffled against my shoulder. In that stolen grief, love deepened. Not the fireworks of summer's start, but a quiet forge, tempering us. We'll get through, I murmured, echoing his earlier vow. Even if it's miles apart. He nodded, but as I left, the porch light dimmed behind me, casting long shadows. The quarry called again that week neutral ground. We met under a harvest moon, the water silvered, fireflies waning with the season. No kisses, just truths, his parents' ultimatums, my dreams of escaping to Savannah's art scene. Fall's coming, he said, hand in mine. UGA for me, Emory for you. We write letters. Real ones. Like Hemingway. I laughed. Soft. Old school. Hale. Only way to keep it sacred. His eyes held mine. Steady now. I love you. That's the anchor. As leaves turned amber, we navigated the minefield, stolen weekends in Atlanta, burner phones for late-night calls, the pool our bittersweet farewell. The last practice, kids splashing oblivious, he pulled me aside by the deep end. Proud of us, he said, voice thick. For fighting, for loving, I corrected, and we dove in tandem one last synchronized lap. Water closing over us like a promise. Winter brought separation's sting, dorm fluorescence, frat noise drowning homesickness. Letters arrived like lifelines. His scrawled on mill stationery, tales of Athens bars and quiet doubts. Mine inked with sketches, capturing the curve of his smile from memory. Christmas, we met halfway in Macon, anonymous motel room a haven. Skin to skin, no hiding, his whispers now bold. This is home, Zach. You, but betrayal's ghost lingered. Spring break, a call from Lena. Connor's folks had found the letters, confronted him in a screaming match that ended with him packing a bag. He's crashing with me, she said. But he's wrecked, blames himself for dragging you in. I drove through the night, arriving at her apartment to find him curled on the couch, eyes red-rimmed. "I'm toxic," he muttered as I held him. "Always choosing wrong." "No," I fierce whispered. "You're human. And so am I." We rebuilt there, in Atlanta's sprawl, weekends tangled in her spare room, job hunting together, his mill gig traded for barista shifts. Willow Creek faded to postcards, his parents' silence a scar but not a chain. By summer 25, we returned not as coaches, but visitors, faces to the team, hands brushing casual under the bleachers. The climax brewed slow, erupting at the annual county fair, carnival lights strung over fried dough and Ferris wheels, Willow Creek's heartbeat pulsing with fiddles and fireworks. We'd come separately, low-key, but fate or nosy ants conspired, spotting us sharing a funnel cake. Laughter easy. His mom approached, Bible tucked under arm like armor. "Connor James Hale," she said, voice steel. "This ends now. Repent, or you're no son of mine." The crowd blurred. His hand found mine under the picnic table, grip vice-tight. "Mom," he said, calm thunder. "I love him." That's the repentance, living true. She recoiled, tears streaking powder. "The devil's work." "No," I interjected, standing. "It's grace. The kind you preached but forgot to give." She fled into the night, but the dam broke. Whispers turned to stares, then miraculously nods from old teammates, a hug from Tyler, contrite, "Sorry, man." Was scared too. Connor's dad, silent sentinel by the hay bales, approached later, gruff, "Heard you swam good. Keep him afloat, Ellis." It wasn't absolution, but a crack in the armor, humanity peeking through judgment's veil. We left the fair hand in hand, fireworks blooming overhead like blessings. Back at the quarry, under a sky vast as forgiveness, Connor pulled me close. "We made it," he breathed, lips brushing mine. "Not made," I murmured, heart full. "Just beginning." In the end, love wasn't the absence of betrayal or storm. It was the swim through, strokes strong against the current. Connor and I, two boys from Willow Creek's deep end, surfaced not unbroken, but whole. Human. American as apple pie and backroad anthems. Our story etched in chlorine and stardust. A testament that even in the heartland's grip, hearts could chart their own course.